So when you think of a graphics card, you think of something like this. Just this normal 2-slot thing. This is actually an R9 280, and look, it's got a fidget button on it. But when you think of a graphics card, you think of something like this. This is actually a pretty powerful little thing. But recently, 3-slot graphics cards are starting to become more popular because, you know, they're getting bigger, cooler. But what if I told you that I have one of the OG 3-slot graphics cards? Whoa, look at it. It's huge. Absolutely a chonker and way overkill for the type of card this is. So this is a pretty old graphics card by today's standards, and I mean, you could just tell because of the old DirectCU 2 cooler thingamajig. What GPU is this actually? Well, this is a 6950. Who's lawn mowing outside? And this cooler is absolutely huge for the GPU, the 6950. Now, I don't know much about the 6950. I don't even remember any of its specifications. You have to look online for those. But I believe this is the same cooler that they use for the 6990, which I believe is two 6870s on one PCB, or in one big die. And yeah, this thing is an absolute chunker. Just look at it. Yeah, and you know what? It only surprisingly doesn't take two 8-pins. You think for a card this big, it would require two 8-pins. I'm unsure if this is the original, if this is like one of the first 3-slot graphics cards, but it's definitely one of the older ones. And today we're going to be seeing how well this thing performs in 2020. And it's got a nice selection of ports on, but we're going to be seeing how well this thing performs in 2020 with modern game says. This thing does support DualDirectX 11 and maybe 12, I'm not really sure. It also has these cool holographic stickers on them, which are kind of fun to spin. So the test system that we're going to be using this is in my main PC because, oh, I don't know, maybe my test SSD decided to crap itself, and you might be thinking, well, what about the A-Data one that you were going to replace it with? Yeah, I killed that one too. Let me explain to you how I managed to kill that. So those A-Data SSDs have pretty cheap case notes because, you know, they're cheap, and I'm just going to use this Hyundai as an example. I requested an RMA warranty thing and I haven't heard back, so I might give up. But anyway, so what I was doing was I was kind of using it as like a fidget toy, kind of doing like this with it a little bit. And the case on the A-Data was actually a lot less sturdy than this one. And I plugged it into a power supply and smoke poured out of it. Poured out of like the little seams. It was like right in this corner. It just poured out, and the connectors weren't burnt at all. It was just something inside it. Looking online, there have been some incidents where something inside the SSD, like the casing, was touching where it wasn't supposed to and shorted out something. So great. Maybe this thing will come back to life. I probably not. So we're gonna have to stick this in my main PC, which doesn't have as many test games. I don't feel like downloading games just testing this, but the main games we're gonna be testing on this is Minecraft, CS:GO, Fortnite, BeamNG Drive, GTA 5. There we go. Couldn't remember for a second, and might also do Rise of the Tomb Raider and Far Cry 5 as well. But yeah, we're gonna be sticking this thing in my main system, and let me tell you, this thing has a sag. It sags like crazy. Put it in a system and it's like that. It's crazy. And she's had a few rounds where she's been absolutely flexing. And I've tried, I think this is supposed to be a support bracket thing that's supposed to screw into the back here, but whenever I had that screwed in, it actually makes this bend even more. So that's about as straight as I can get it. And if I ever put this into a system, it's definitely going to need a bracket to keep the card up. So let's stick this in my main system and let's see how she performs. I am a fan of these holographic stickers. Let's see if I can get them both to be blue. It's the wrong shade of blue. Come on. Come on. Nah, whatever. God, this thing is huge in here. And yes, this is a mini ITX motherboard and everything else inside of an ATX case. Don't criticize. I don't think it looks that stupid. I don't think these cords up here aren't that bad looking, especially with the side panel on because you can't see anything. But I mean, like, this card, man, it barely fits. Also, if you could tell what case it is just by these toolless graphics things and this toolless power supply mount will give you $1. No hints. So when I tried to plug in the GPU to my main system, it had a stroke, and it sounded like someone was constantly revving the engine of their car, because the fans would go full speed and then off and then full speed and off over and over again. Just great. So my next best option was steal this Mini ITX and i7 2600 motherboard combo, stick it in an ATX case that was previously owned by a different system, but now it's just temporary in here, and use the i7 2600 as the CPU for testing the 6950. 2600 is a very good CPU and probably won't be able to hold back our 6950 at all. So the main test setup is going to be an i7 2600, 8 gigs of RAM, and a SSD and hard drive combination. So this is the point where I would show you the benchmarks of this GPU. However, almost all of the video files for some reason just got corrupt. I don't know. They played fine on the test SSD, and then when I transfer them over, they just got corrupted, and I already deleted them off the test SSD that I was using in the system. So almost all of these are corrupted. Plus, I actually did not capture most of the frame rate for the games that I played. So even if the video files were intact, I wouldn't be able to display an average, minimum, maximum frame rate, and I cannot test this 6950 anymore, as I do not have the i7 2600 anymore. But if you are interested in how this thing performs in any games, this thing performs similar to a GTX 560 Ti. So just search up 560 Ti and then the name of your game, and that'll tell you how well this thing performs. So I'm sorry this had to end this way, but I didn't want to script this video. I put enough effort into it that I want to upload it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is sad, as the outro that I originally recorded for this also appears to have disappeared. So what are my odds? But I do have a special video coming out. It might even come out the same day this is coming out, but it is a 30-minute video. So get excited for that.